Corey, thank you so much for taking the time. It's a pleasure to see you again after the meeting we had a couple months ago, maybe even longer than a year
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
It'd be great if maybe you could introduce yourself, who you are, your background, story with
Yeah.
the company, what you guys do.
Yeah, my name is Corey Janvier. I'm originally from Chippewa Prairie Dene First Nation in northern Alberta. Now reside in West Vancouver, and I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Cedar Brush Site Services and Janitorial. So it started in August 2021 as just a one mop bucket, one broom, and it's grown into over $1 million business. Currently, the company has 4 different divisions. So within 3 years, we've grown from 1 employee, 1 mop bucket, 1 broom company to now 52 employees offering 4 different services that really work around First Nation communities, social housing, Ministry of Child and Family Development, the health industry, so your provincial and local health authorities, and now just getting into the construction industry with janitorial services and general labor support. So yeah, Cedar Brush, 100% Indigenous company, 50 employees, and pretty big growth from $500 a month to 1.2 million this year is what I'm projected to do. So in 3 years, so it's been a pretty good growth.
Wild. Yeah, what a story! What a story from you and a broom or a brush all the way to 7 figures is incredible. Maybe just a question for you on another note, like when it comes to banking, when you're starting up this business, who were you using before Venn, and what types of problems did you face with them?
So I started off with Scotiabank because that's just where I was doing my personal banking, and it's good for personal, but for business, they want to deal with the big guys, right? They want to put their attention to that. So I did move over to a credit union and was looking for credit options because I've built this whole business with no lines of credit, no credit cards based on credit, and no loans. It's all been a cash business to grow. And the reason why I wanted to do that is to eliminate risk, right? Eliminate risk of racking up a credit card. I got introduced to you guys, and yeah, it was a perfect fit because I was able to get cards for my employees, set the limits, and at the same time, they're able to upload the receipts, which really helps with our bookkeeping. The quickness of the cards being shipped out, the responses from you guys on customer service, this is just a great use of great use for my business, and I couldn't be any happier.
That's awesome. And if you were to maybe quantify like the amount of time that the internal controls that Venn offers has saved you and your bookkeeping and your accounting, would you be able to put a number on it?
Yeah, definitely over 10, that's for sure. It's especially weekly, just with our team and managing the receipts and stuff. It's so easy. It sends you a notification, they take the picture, and it's there, right? So it's instant, and you don't need to have a big pile of receipts in your car, which I do anyways. I got like a whole it's eliminating filling your car up with receipts. You could put them in an envelope and store them properly. But yeah, definitely with those controls in place and having the controlled spending where you're not, you don't have employees that are thinking, oh, we should buy this, and this, and then you're getting up over like $500 a daily limit, right? And that could go quick. So having those controls in place is so beneficial.
That's awesome to hear. Exactly why I know the team built those features. So that's great that you're using the product that way. Your business has grown exponentially over the last year. Do you see yourself continuing to use Venn as you scale?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to stay away from credit cards as a business. My business is doing well, and it's allowed me to utilize the Venn card as it should, right? As a business that has done it all without lines of credit and loans, yeah, it just makes sense to keep using this method of payment because it's safe, it's secure, and there's no risk. I'm not jacking up a $20,000. Okay, I'm going to pay next week. I'm going to pay next week. Oh, I'm going to pay this. When this invoice comes in, then you start turning yourself upside down. Whereas this, you're able to manage your spending, manage your budgets a lot better when it's this style.
That's great. And you kind of mentioned it there, but if you were to refer Venn to other types of businesses, what would those businesses look like?
For me, being heavily involved in the Indigenous world and access to credit and capital, especially on reserve, is very tough for businesses trying to grow and have access to a card like Venn, or as compared to your banks. An individual on reserve has tough time getting credit for a business based off the equity in their home that a lot of people do, right? They start a business, okay, they're at the growth point, let me take some equity in my home. So that doesn't work on reserve. So there is obviously grants and stuff for Indigenous businesses, but this is a great tool for Indigenous businesses. Again, it's safe, it's secure, and your risk level is very low, right? So as I'm starting to refer other businesses, which I have, my focus is with Indigenous small business that don't need a high credit limit for purchases and stuff. Really, for day-to-day expenses, I think as they get going, it's a great starting point. And then for me, it really works when I'm renting small equipment like excavators and skid steers and bobcats and landscaping equipment and trailers and box trucks. It works, right? So it makes it so much easier than just using a debit card.
That's great.
Yeah.
And that's the exact type of business, that we want to be serving, the small Canadian business or the medium-sized Canadian business who is looked after by the major banks. How would you rate Venn out of 10?
So far, it's been a 10 out of 10. It's been a great experience. Never had an issue. The cards look great. They kind of have that little executive look, so which is nice. So it's the black is always nice. But 10 out of 10. Customer service has been good, and just the information on your guys' website with any questions, I was able to find it there. So and the transfers, as I transfer from business to there, it's been great. So
amazing. Well, happy that you're taking advantage of all those features and have such great reviews. We really appreciate your business, Corey. We're excited to continue watching it grow as it has been. And thank you so much for taking the time.